What's up guys, Chris here again with another Four Knights of the Apocalypse manga chapter review, and this arc just keeps getting better and better with a pretty good ending to the arc, and also proving something that I had speculated in the last chapter review regarding the guards of Camelot's Holy Knight that is attacking Percival and the like. And I have to say, this series keeps getting better and better, and I'm glad I'm covering this week to week because the hype just keeps getting more and more better, if that even makes any sense. And we're just going to get into this chapter within in the next minute or so. But before I continue, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps. This channel is still inching closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. We're really close to 900. And hopefully we can get to that by the end of October if things keep going the way they are. So please help us get to that point. Also, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi account down below, so you guys can help support the channel however you see fit by donating to the channel and helping me ensure that I get these videos out a lot quicker than they normally do, and maybe even make even more videos as this channel continues to grow. And I just want to do a quick plug-in. I actually have a Webtoon at the moment that I'm trying to get off the ground. See how that turns out, but I would really appreciate the support on that. I have the link to the video up above in the title card along with the other Four Knights and manga content I have for the channel, and there's going to be a link in the description below. So for a while I'm going to be promoting this Webtoon. With that out of the way, let's get into the chapter. Last week we essentially got the reveal of, well, the Holy Knight being a Holy Knight, everything going on with the demon race, Percival somehow learning how to speak their language, and Ardbeg using his dog to turn into seemingly like a chaos beast originally, but I get more answers into what this is in this chapter, and he sicks it on Percival, and that's where the chapter ends. I know I kind of glossed over a lot, but we did a lot of good misdirection with the last couple of chapters, so I'm glad that we're getting some more concrete evidence of what's going on. Now then, moving on to chapter 36, and now I finally know how to pronounce that dog's name. It's Kernanos. Kernanos, the mystic beast. I don't know why, it's hard for me to pronounce words now, but before I get into really quick, Kernanos is actually the name of that horn thing in the beginning of the Seven Deadly Sins in the first season that Bond was trying to get it, because it was stated that the horn of Kernanos can communicate with the goddess clan. So it's very highly possible that Kernanos is a type of beast that once a horn is cut off, it can be turned into the horn and be used to communicate with the goddesses or something like that. So this makes this beast very important to the plot now, and presents a whole bunch of different questions. Are there just multiples of these beasts, like I speculated? Or is this just one and it's managed to survive after losing its first horn or something like that? But anyway, getting on with the chapter. The beast is staring down at them, with everyone wondering if that was just a dog before them. And Nazians actually describes Kernanos as a myth, that is a god with deer antlers. And I like how Anna's just saying this is definitely a dog regardless. Ardbeg continues to say that Kelly is not a dog or a deer, but a mystic beast that resides in the depths of hell. So it's very possible that this thing is from the demon realm, or perhaps maybe purgatory, similar to Hawk. Anyway, Kernanos gets up to Percival, snips him, breathes on him, and then basically just hits him with his paw against the wall with a very destructive force, much to Percival's surprise and everyone, as it then charges up a beam from its horns and begins to launch it straight at Percival. Now imagine if Percival knew full counter, this would be no problem at all. Seriously, Percival, learn full counter, you got the sword. When you meet Meliodas, you gotta learn full counter. If not, make sure Tristan knows full counter. It's written right there, it's obvious. But yeah, Percival manages to dodge out of the way at the very last second. We get to see the aftermath, a huge explosion that probably would have really hurt Percival to begin with. And Kernanos then lunges towards Percival and tries to eat him, chop him up. But Percival, thanks to his magical power, manages to fly out of the way at the very last second. Nazians instructs Percival to go after the antlers in order to stop those wild attacks. So Percival takes his dragon sword and begins to try and hit it. But much to the shock, it doesn't even leave a scratch. With it being revealed that the horns are harder as hard as garnet, and even steel can't beat them. So Percival tries to create a blade out of his aura, out of his magical power, like he did in his last fight against Tolkser during the Echo Gorge arc. And, as we've seen previously, he then does a barrage of slashes on the horn, but even that doesn't do anything. He then gets hit point blank by this electrical attack, and he's knocked down. As this is going on, Sylvain runs for his damn life, hides inside a shack, hoping that monster can't find him. As much as I know this horse doesn't talk, and I'll get an inner monologue of this thing as like some kind of comedic relief or something like that, and he stumbles upon Sin. Talk about some really nice coincidences. He runs the exact same shack that Sin was in, so he tries to wake him up, and Sin manages to get up. As she states, it's nice that old man. He basically just says, I don't know if it's mostly sarcastically, but he says, nice of the bastard to give me a long nap. As he then hears the commotion outside, yawning as he's just woken up, and he notices Percival fighting against Kernanos. And I like how it's basically pointed out by Donnie that Kernanos is just toying with Percival at this point, just playing around. Even though he's trying to kill him, he's playing around, not going all out. And even his handler is telling him to stop playing around just to finish this. An pops up behind him and tells him just to not kill Percival and to tell his dog to stop, stating that she tricked them, but she can see lies and is wondering how he managed to do it. And he just stated, I never told you any lies. And even though An's trying to deny this, he was basically telling the truth. He was a hunter, and he just wanted to hunt the demons inside the mountain. Hell, even he is trembling with frustration, as An states that he offered to help their friends, and he generously, truly did want to help Percival and Donnie, but he didn't know that Percival was one of the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse. So it's very possible that An would have, if he knew this, he probably would still help them, but would have taken advantage of it to try and kill Percival also, and An would have noticed something. But then the Elder comes up and states that it's not all out of virtue, since basically he used the kids to his own ends. While wanting to help them out was one part of it, his main objective was to enter the village and eradicate it. And it also ends up telling us what exactly the barrier does, why it kept Ard out. It keeps out anyone with hostile or murderous intent. That is really good. That is a really nice barrier, and I wonder who created the barrier, whether it was the Elder, or maybe someone from Leonis, or someone from the Demon Realm, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But it's very interesting. Ard then pushes on back and states that it's true. He wanted in there so he could take advantage. So he took advantage of everybody. An asks for the crystal back, stating that she will end up releasing all the demons that were taken out. Stating that demons did nothing at all against them. But Ard states how basically she is just foolhardy and knows nothing of the turmoil from 16 years ago, as he goes into pretty good depth of the destruction the Demon Clan did 16 years ago during the Holy War when they were resurrected. The Ten Commandments, the Demon King, everything. Just going into full-on detail, and even showing us someone that seemingly looked like him. So many people died, a whole bunch of tragedy, even An's shocked by this, as he tells him, as he tries to tell her that this is just, she knows nothing of this, and to just let him take out Percival, because with the arrival of the prophesized knights, things will be even darker than what happened with the demons 16 years ago. The very world will be destroyed if the 4 knights are left to their own devices. And so he can't hesitate to even kill a child. So this is something I mentioned in my previous review, in the fact that maybe all the knights so far are so gung-ho about eradicating all the other races and clans in this series is because of what happened in the Holy War 16 years ago. I mean, the demons, I understand. I completely understand. And maybe even the goddesses to an extent, since it's basically like one big game to them. But I'm not so convinced about the fairies and the giants, since they've been basically neutral from the very start. And giants have been mercenaries to humans. Fairies have just been completely away from it. And if anything, the fairies have more reason to hate the humans than the humans have the fairies. So it's possible it's something that happened with the Chris by Light movie. But then again, nothing really happened with the giants. So it's very possible there's just a warped viewpoint that they have to get rid of all the other clans so that with only humans around, things will be nice and peaceful. I mean, that's very idealistic, but that makes entire sense for someone that's seen a whole bunch of tragedy to the point where it practically nearly broke him. And it shows that Ard is kind of sympathetic to an extent. He's experienced a ton of tragedy and potentially even lost his own child due to the demon's attack in the Holy War. And now he's just clinging onto the whole kingdom for humans and getting rid of the other the other clans as a way for him to basically make sure that future generations don't have to go through what he goes through. So I like that. It's showing that they're not just evil villains, but they're people that just want vengeance and want to get rid of whatever it is that could cause potential trouble and danger to Britannia and the world as a whole. So this is honestly something I like. I'm glad we're getting into something like this, because as much as I didn't care if they were just generic villains, just wanted to erase all the other clans. It makes sense why these humans do in fact want revenge, especially if we go into the final arc of the Seven Deadly Sins and the Cursed by Light movie to see just how grand the casualties in Camelot specifically were. So yeah, that's a nice little thing to get into. But back to the chapter. Percival gets knocked on the ground, he tries getting up, and Sin appears asking what Percival is actually doing, stating that he just got his new sword made and everything, while Percival is trying to state that even though that his sword was just made and it's super strong, that beast is really strong. He even tried using his magic sword. And Sin ends up giving Percival the best kind of advice ever, and it's the most obvious form of advice. Why not use both at the exact same time? As Percival looks down at his hand with his magic sword and his actual sword, and is like, add them up as one? As then he does that and enchants his sword with his magical power, creating a big ass magic sword combined with the dragon sword to enhance all the power. And I like how Sin does in fact state that it's not just addition, it's not just addition, it's exponential. So it's basically like a power multiplier. So once again, Nakawa Suzuki giving us that Dragon Ball type inspiration, even though it's not like fusion like with the original demon and the original Seven Deadly Sins. This is something that boosts the durability and actual effectiveness of Percival's sword with the magic. So now he's just going to launch straight at Kernanos. So it takes a sword, states that this is going to work as Kernanos lunges towards him, and then he slices off one of Kernanos' horns with ease, ending the chapter. So I have to say, Four Knights of the Apocalypse is doing good, and it is doing a lot of great work with the groundwork in all generosity with how things are with Percival's growth and learning how to use his powers. I like how Sin is just basically being like the mentor figure in this. As much as I would have liked it if Hauser joined them, I feel like Hauser would have helped with the situation since he is the Holy Knight Grand Master, and he also experienced stuff that happened during the Holy War. But seeing Sin helping Percival learn things shows just how much more experienced Sin is in using magic and combat in general. And it's also placed into the fact that in the Seven Deadly Sins, we see this a lot where characters enchanted their weapons with their own magical power or with spells to make them incredibly more powerful. And with Percival's basic toolbox type power up, he can do this to his own sword, making it even more stronger. So I like seeing this. I believe that everybody had this like in mind from the very beginning when Percival could do this. And I was wondering, when is he going to do this to his sword? When is he going to get a sword and use this with an actual sword? And I originally thought he probably might not get a sword, and he would just be like using his aura to fight and create makeshift weapons. But doing this makes him a lot more deadly and a much more versatile fighter. But yeah, this chapter is over, and I have to say, I like what we got with Ard. He is a survivor of the Holy War, officially confirmed, and he experienced a lot of horror and despair and loss. And shows just how disbarred the current generation is when it comes to all this stuff, especially with the demons and stuff like that in the Holy War, as they're basically living in a time of peace. Yes, Camelot and Leonis seem to be having a big conflict, but overall, they haven't really experienced the threat that happened 16 years ago and all that loss with that constant basic war. So I like that this is giving us more depth to all of the Knights of Camelot and some more insight as to why they're so gung-ho about doing these orders for Arthur. But again, the demons, and even to an extent the goddesses, I completely and utterly understand why they would want to get rid of them. The giants and fairies, I am not too thrilled on why they want to get rid of the giants and fairies, because overall, the giants and fairies didn't do anything really that bad to the humans. Fairies just kept to themselves, and giants were basically just mercenaries for the humans to the end, to participate in wars. So, I mean, unless you were the victims, that would make sense, but then again, the giants didn't really do this out of just pure malice. It was just a job. And if anything, the other kingdoms that hired those giants are more to blame than the actual giants, to an extent. But yeah, that's all my opinion. I could be entirely wrong here, and I could have missed something from the original series, so let me know in the comments down below. Overall, what did you guys think of this chapter? Was it good? Was it bad? Do you think that we're finally going to get the reveal of Sin's actual form and who he actually is? Because I have to say, it's been teased so much, especially since the Sistana arc. I mean, come on, is he actually Bond in disguise? I mean, he doesn't fit Bond's general personality traits, so I don't really think so. But it's more likely that he's Lancelot. Is he Lancelot? I want to know. This arc has been building up so many loose threads. If it doesn't happen this arc, then he's gonna have to reveal himself once they get to Leonis. But yeah, right now we haven't seen what Ard himself can do, and he still has a Chaos staff. So what he's gonna do with that, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think he's going to use it on any of the kids since they are human, and despite them being friends with Percival and trying to stop him, he's not going to kill them. He could have killed on or chaosified her at any moment, but he isn't. Compared to someone like Tulsker and Ironside, he's a genuinely nicer person, just fully consumed with revenge and anger towards all the other clans, that he just has to do what he has to do. He's consumed by hatred, but he won't just kill innocent children. Percival's an exception because he's one of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, and I could tell that he most likely doesn't want to kill a child. So yeah, I'm glad we're getting some more depth to some of these new Holy Knights, and adding on to the lore of the story. And again, what did you guys think? Do you think it's good that we're getting this type of depth and well, expansion of these enemy knights that we're going to continue to run into? Do you still think that Sin is Lancelot, or do you still think that this arc in particular is when Sin will reveal his identity of being Lancelot, maybe Bond, if anything? But if it was Bond, he probably would have showed himself already. Or someone completely different, or maybe he's just a talking fox, for all we know. But yeah, leave all your thoughts and opinions down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and help us get to 900 subscribers before the end of the month. And help us even further to reach 1,000 subscribers. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.